Okay, good day everyone. If siguro napansin niyo wala yung mukha ko sa video. um, Wala muna tayong pa-video this time because naiwan natin yung mga munting gadgets natin. Okay? So, but anyway, it will not stop us from learning or from um, helping others, no? And it will not also stop us from discussing new topics. Okay? So for today, we're going to discuss quadratic functions. By the way, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is El Maestro. Okay, Sir Paulo at your service. Muti ko na makalimutan. Anyway, so we're going to discuss quadratic functions. So, diretso natin, we describe a quadratic function. Is a function defined by fx, or function of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a, again, must not be equal to 0. Okay? So, you already learned that linear function is described by polynomial degree 1. Pag yung highest degree is 1, that is a linear. Pero pag highest degree is 2, that is a quadratic function. In this case, the highest degree is 2. Look. Okay? 2 yung highest degree. So, this is a quadratic function. So, to differentiate a quadratic function to a quadratic formula or quadratic equation, so this is a quadratic function. If makita nyo, I'm using y here kasi some of the books, okay, they use y instead of f of x. Okay? So, pareho lang yung dalawang yan. Okay? So, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, or sometimes it is written f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So, the same lang yan. So, this is a quadratic function. So, yung difference ng quadratic equation is equal to 0 siya. Okay? Pero yung loob niya, the same lang. Ax squared plus bx plus c. The same. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Highest degree is 2. Kaso, yung quadratic equation is equal to 0. Quadratic function is equal to f of x or equal to y. Okay? So, nakuha nyo yung difference nung dalawa. So, don't get confused with these two. So, in this discussion, we're going to first determine, okay, if the table of values represent a quadratic function. Okay? So, alamin natin table of values. Siguro alam niyo na to, table of values. Okay? So, tingnan natin ito. So, consider we have two functions here. We have f of x is equal to 2x plus 1, and another, meron tayong g of x is equal to 2x squared plus 1. If manotice nyo, ay yung highest degree dito. Di ba 1? So, since this is degree 1, this is a linear function. Okay? And this, since the highest degree here is 2, meaning this is a quadratic function. Okay? And from these two equation, ito yung corresponding table of values niya. Okay? And the other one, ito yung corresponding table of values niya. So, what if we are given this table? Halimbawa, itong table lang yung ibibigay sa atin. How are we going to determine if this table is a quadratic function or a linear function? Ganito yung gagawin natin. First is we subtract this. Okay? Iso-subtract natin yung magkatabi na values. Let's say, for example, negative 1 minus negative 2. Or you can have it 2, negative 2 minus 1. So, the same lang yan. Pero as long as pag dito ka sa left magsimula, left minus right, so dapat always ka left minus right. Okay? So, sa example ko, ang ginawa ko is right, negative 1 minus left. Okay? So, negative 1 minus 2, that is equal to 1. Okay? So, 0 minus 1, that is 1. Okay? So, verify, you can use your calculator, okay, to verify this mathematics or this computation. Okay? So, 1 minus 0, that is equal to 1. And 2 minus 1, okay, is equal to 1. So, nakita nyo, uniform yung difference. So, yung pinakauna talaga class, dapat uniform yung difference ng nasa x natin. Okay? How about dito sa f of x? Tingnan natin yung difference niya. So, negative 1 minus negative 3 is 2. 1 minus negative 1, that is 2. 3 minus 1, that is 2. 5 minus 3, that is 2. Okay? So, nakita nyo, uniform yung difference ng bawat values na nandito sa table of values natin. So, what does it implies? Pag yung first subtraction natin is makakaroon kaagad tayo ng uniform difference, then this table is a linear function. Okay? Automatic yan. Linear function kaagad. Okay. How about the second table? Alam natin this is a quadratic function kasi meron nga yung given natin quadratic function, di ba? And this is the corresponding table. Pero what if hindi given to? We're just asked to determine if this table is a quadratic. Ganun din yung gagawin natin. So, subtract natin, negative 1 minus 2, that is 1. 0 minus 1, 1. 1 minus 0, 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Gagawin natin the same thing sa baba. 3 minus 9, 6. 1 minus 3, 3 minus 9, that is negative 6. 1 minus 3, negative 2. 3 minus 1, that is 2. 9 minus 3, that is 6. If manotice nyo, walang uniform difference sa first subtraction natin. Okay? So, meaning, this is not a linear function. Kasi pag linear function to, automatic, uniform yung difference niya. But since hindi, let's continue. Iso-subtract naman natin to, yung mga result natin. So, gagawin natin negative 2 minus negative 6, that is 4. 2 minus negative 2, that is 4. And 6 minus 2, that is 4. During the second time tayo nag-subtract, dun tayo nakakuha ng uniform difference na 4. Pag ganun yung setup, or pag ganun yung nangyari, then we say that this table is a quadratic function. Okay? So, yun yung difference ng dalawa. Dito, sa first pa lang, nagkaroon na ng uniform difference, so linear function. Dito, sa pangalawa, doon tayo nagkaroon ng uniform difference, din this is a quadratic function. Okay? So, maybe we'll ask, paano ginawa yung table of values? Okay? So, we'll just review it. Okay? Let's say, for example, this 2x, yung linear function natin, anong gagawin natin? So, mag-a-assign tayo ng values ng x. Ito, given yan. Kayo mag-a-assign yan. Okay? It's up to you saan ka magsisimula. You can start negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, it's up to you. Okay? But for now, we'll just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. 5 values lang muna tayo. Okay? So, paano natin kukunin yung f of x natin? So, isa-substitute lang natin yung mga values ng x dun sa ating function. Let's say, for example, first, we have negative 2. So, when x is equal to negative 2, isa-substitute natin yan. So, f of x is equal to 2. Ito, x is negative 2 plus 1. Okay? So, do the math. So, fx is equal to negative 2 plus 3. Okay? Negative 4 plus 1. So, that is negative 3. So, the value here is negative 3. Okay? How about if x is equal to negative 1? So, substitute. Ganun pa rin. Negative 1 yung x. Do the math. And you will have negative 1 as your f of x. So, again, when x is equal to 0, paisa-isahin natin. So, 0 times 2, 0. So, f of x is 1. Okay? How about if x is equal to 1? Ganun pa rin. Okay? Do the math. 2 plus 1, that is equal to 3. And last, we have x is equal to 2. Okay? You will have, so ito yung table of values natin when we have a function of fx is equal to 2x plus 1. So, ito yung table. So, we already tested this one kanina, di ba? That this is a linear function. How about the other one? Yung kanina, yung quadratic function. Ganun pa rin. Okay? You assign values of your x. Okay? Nasa sayo yan kung gaano kadami. Okay? So, let's substitute negative 2. So, you have negative 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 minus 1. Do the math. 4 minus 4. That is 2 times negative 2 minus 4 minus 1. That is equal to negative 1. Okay? So, when x is negative 2, our f of x is negative 1. Okay? Okay, when x is negative 1, dito na naman tayo, when x is negative 1, so substitute, sa-substitute mo lang yan, then use your calculator, okay, so negative 1 minus 2 minus 1, that is equal to negative 2, so negative 2, then when x is equal to 0, okay, yung magiging result natin, negative 1, when x is equal to 1, okay, dediretsoy na natin. So, kung you can review this one, you can calculate this one, okay? So, 2, and last, when x is equal to 2, substitute, okay? You will have 4 plus 4 minus 1, that is equal to 7. Okay? So, x is equal to 7. So, ganun lang kadali, class. Okay? Ganun lang kadali gumawa ng table of values. Okay? So, let's check if this is really a quadratic function. I-check natin. So, subtract natin. That is equal to negative 1. Okay? Bakit? Ang ginawa ko this time from left to right. Para makita nyo na the same lang yan. Okay? So, left to right, ginawa ko negative 2 minus 1. So, negative 1. So, dito, negative 1 minus 0, that is negative 1. 0 minus 1, negative 1. 1 minus 2, that is negative 1. The same, dito, left to right tayo. Negative 1 minus 2, that is 1. Negative 2 minus 1, that is negative 1. Okay? Negative 1 minus 2, that is negative 3. And 2 minus 7, that is equal to 5. So, makita nyo, so sa first is wala tayong uniform na difference. So, gawin natin second round. Okay? 1 minus negative 1, that is 2. Negative 1 minus negative 3, that is positive 2. Negative 3 minus negative 5, that is positive 2. Okay? So, nakita nyo, during the second time na nag-minus, nag-subtract tayo, dun tayo nakakuha ng uniform difference. So, therefore, this table is a quadratic function. Okay? So, halimbawa, this one. So, let's try to determine if this is a quadratic function or a linear function. Okay? So, we'll do the same. Subtract natin yan. Negative 2. Ginawa natin negative 3 minus negative 2, that is negative 1. Next, negative 2 minus 1, that is negative 1. Then, negative 1 minus 0, that is negative 1. 0 minus 1, that is negative 1. 1 minus 2, negative 1. 2 minus 3, negative 1. If mapansin nyo, class, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, 7 na yung table, yung values na kinuha natin. Kanina, 5 lang. So, this is what I told you. Pwedeng damihan nyo, depende sa inyo, or depende sa given. Okay? So, let's check yung g of x natin. So, 2 minus 1, that is, 2 minus negative 1, that is 3. Negative 1 minus negative 2, that is 1. Negative 2 minus negative 1, that is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 2, that is negative 3. 2 minus 7, that is negative 5. And 7 minus 14, that is negative 7. So, walang uniform difference at first, right? So, since wala, let's proceed. Minus na naman tayo. 3 minus 1, 2. 1 minus negative 1, that is 2. Negative 1 minus negative 3, that is 2. Negative 3 minus negative 5, that is negative or positive 2. Negative 5 minus negative 5 minus negative 7, that is positive 2. So, that means we already have uniform difference, so we can say that this is a quadratic function. So, this table is a quadratic function. Okay? So, ganun lang kasimple. So, last example. So, ganun pa rin. Subtract natin. Negative 1. Okay? 2 minus negative 1, that is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 0, that is negative 1. 0 minus 1, negative 1. 1 minus 2, negative 1. How about f of x? Negative 9. Okay? Negative 12 minus 3, negative 9. Negative 3 minus 0, negative 3. 0 minus negative 3, that is positive 3. Negative 3 minus negative 12, that is positive 9. So, walang uniform difference at first. So, gawin natin yung second. So, negative 9 minus negative 3, that is negative 6. Okay? Negative 6, negative 6. So, meaning, since meron tayong uniform difference sa second time, so we can say that this is a quadratic function. Okay? Ganun lang kasimple mag-identify ng table if that is a quadratic function or a linear function. Sa linear, at first, magkakaroon na agad tayo ng uniform difference dito pa lang. Pero sa quadratic function, sa pangalawang beses na tayo magkaroon ng uniform difference. Okay? So, how about if yung given sa atin is a quadratic function, yung graph yung given sa atin, how are we going to determine if that graph is a function? Okay? So, i-determine natin ngayon ang isang graph whether function ba siya or hindi. Okay? Normally, pag quadratic function, just like this, parabola yung graph niya. Okay? So, later on, malalaman nyo ay yung parabola. If we have a quadratic function class, that is a parabola, yung graph niya. Okay? So, it's a curved shape opening upward or downward. Okay? So, when a is greater than 0, meaning itong a mo, if your a is greater than 0, yung parabola mo is open upward. Pag ganyan yung parabola mo. But if your a is less than 0, meaning negative yung a mo dito, so our parabola is going down. Okay, ito yung mga function. Okay? So, we can use vertical test to determine if that graph is a function or not. Okay? Vertical line test yung gagamitin natin. So, paano yung gagawin? To use this method, draw a vertical line cutting through the graph, and if it intersects at exactly one point, the graph is a graph of function. Okay? Ganun lang kasimple. So, gagawin natin. Example number 1. So, isusulat ko dito yung vertical line function. So, since we need a graph, so sketch natin yung function na to. So, ang gagawin natin, gagawa tayo ng table of values. So, ganun pa rin, no? So, we need a graphing paper. So, paano natin kinuha to? Actually, ito yung kanina, no? Ginawa natin, we substitute values, negative 3, until such, nakakuha tayo ng value na 2, ito. Okay? So, gagawin nyo, pupunuin nyo lang yan, then i-graph nyo. Okay? So, first is, yung ordered pair natin is negative 3 and 2. So, negative 3 dito, then positive 2. So, most likely dito yung dot natin. Next, negative 2 and negative 1. So, dito. Negative 2 and negative 1 sa banda dito. Okay, dito. So, the next is we have negative 1 and negative 2 dyan. Next is 0 and negative 1. So, dito. So, and if you continue, hindi ko na tinapos class no hanggang ano lang tayo, 1 and 2. Okay, kasi until 6 lang yung graph natin. But if you wanted to, pwede naman. So, walang problema. So, if i-graph natin, let's connect the dot. Yun, parabola opening upward. Bakit opening upward? Look, yung coefficient ng x is greater than 0, which is 1. So, opening upward. So, paano natin ngayon iti-test if this graph is a function or not? So, ang gagawin natin, sabi dito, gagawa tayo ng mga vertical lines. Dodraw tayo ng vertical lines. Maybe you will ask, sir, saan natin ilalagay yung vertical line? Anywhere sa graph. Basta, it will pass through the line. Or it will pass through itong yung graph natin. So, tingnan nyo, gumawa ko ng vertical line and nag-pass siya dito sa graph natin. Okay? So, kahit saan, let's say for example, dito nyo ilagay, okay lang. How about dito? Okay lang din. As long as, okay, it will pass through your graph. Okay? So after natin gumawa ng vertical line, tingnan natin ito. So, after we use a vertical line, cutting through the graph, and if it intersect exactly one point, pag nag-intersect siya sa isang point lang sa graph mo, then that function is, or that graph is a graph of function. Anong ibig sabihin? Let's try. Okay? We make a vertical line. Tingnan nyo, dito lang nag-intersect yung line natin. Isang beses lang. Exactly one point of intersection dito lang. Or halimbawa, let's have vertical line here. Tingnan nyo. Di ba dito lang nag-intersect? So, if we draw a vertical line, tapos nag-intersect siya sa isang point lang, meaning that graph is a function. Ganun lang kasimple. Okay? So, let's say for example, meron tayong graph. Medyo laki-lakihan natin. Ito na naman yung graph natin. So, let's test if this graph is a function. Again, use this method, gagawa tayo ng vertical line, cutting through the graph, and tingnan natin kung ilang beses siya nag-intersect. So, let's say for example ito, gawa tayo, tingnan nyo, intersect siya dyan. Is there any intersection na nangyari? Di ba wala na? because this graph will pass through there. Ganyan. So, wala na. Or let's say, tingnan natin ditong banda. Ganun pa rin, isang intersection lang. So, meaning, since isang intersection lang yung nangyari, when we draw a vertical line, that means that this graph is a function. Okay? So, we'll have an example ito. How about this one? Still a parabola. Gawa tayo ng vertical line. Yun, meron tayong vertical line. And what happened? Ilang intersection ang nangyari? Isa, dalawa. Since two intersection yung nangyari, we can say that this graph is not a function. Ganun lang. O, gusto nyo i-test sa kabilang part. Dito, mag-test tayo dito. Ganun pa rin. Okay? May intersection dyan, may intersection pa rin dyan. So, meaning, this graph is not a function. Again, this graph is not a function. Ganun lang. So, when you are asked or when you are given a graph, tapos you were asked to test if that graph is a function, gagawin nyo, gagawa lang kayo ng vertical line, the same thing with this, di ba? So, gumawa tayo ng vertical line, tapos tiningnan natin yung intersection point. Pag dalawa yung intersection niya, meaning, that is not a function. Okay? But if, just like this, ginawa natin kanina, okay, tingnan nyo, gumawa tayo ng vertical, pero isang intersection lang, di ba? So, meaning that graph is a function. Okay? So, these are the two methods, class, or two ways to test a graph, or this is the way to test a table of value if that is a quadratic function, and also to test a graph if that graph is a function or not. Okay? So, napakasimple lang. So, again, thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. And as I always told you, if you have questions, inquiries, and reactions, and if you want to discuss anything like other topic, or if you have something na gusto nating talakayin, you can comment down below sa comment section, class, yung mga question nyo para magawa natin ng video, ma-address natin yung mga concerns nyo. And I will really love to hear or to know ano yung mga gusto nyong ma-learn pagdating sa mathematics. Okay? So once again, this is El Maestro, Sir Paulo, telling you, God bless you all. Goodbye.